Hi guys, it's Jimmy, and today I've got a whole bunch of watches out, mainly part of my vintage collection. And I was thinking before while I was working that over the last 2 or 3 years, the focus by many collectors and also people interested in financial return was focused very much on new Rolex, new Pateks, and new APs, and it branched into a couple other brands as well. And vintage sort of just stayed on the side and did its thing. They sort of just stayed stable price wise, didn't really go up or down in the last couple of years, unless of course it's something seriously rare. They've continued going up in value, but the rest of the vintage market, let's say vintage Rolex for instance, over the last couple of years, it's sort of stayed level. Prior to that, it was climbing year by year, probably I'd say a lot of models at sort of 20% per year going up in value. And then they just stopped. They sort of got high and they stopped. And then modern pieces slowly caught up to them and then went past them. And as we know now the modern pieces are sort of coming back down, finding a reasonable spot where they'll level out, and then they'll just continue selling. So I thought I'll do a video and just go through some of my vintage collection. Now, what I consider vintage is anything sort of 30 years old and older. Don't ask me why, I just sort of believe it is. Similar kind of thing with cars. And yeah, so I'll start going through them. As you'll see, there's no echo at the moment. I'm back inside the house. I did go out into my little man cave that's next to my shed and set up, and then my son turned up with some of his mates, and yeah, they started getting noisy out there, so I stopped. I went around the other side of the house, thought I'd do a video outside, and they've come around that side, started mucking around looking at a car. So yeah, I've retreated back into the house, so hopefully no one bothers me now. Anyway, so what we'll do, I've got an incoming call. Okay. I think I'll just randomly start. Yeah. Actually, there is 2 watches I want to go through first because they're sort of family heirlooms. Here we've got a 1950s Amiga, belonged to my grandfather. I believe it was probably his first wristwatch. Because he came to Australia in the 1950s, in the earlier part of the 1950s, and this would be from sometime in the 1950s. So let's say it's mid 50s or late 50s. So I believe it was his first watch because he wore it a lot. He wore it on the farm. As you can see, it's got the ribbed cage. These are plied lugs. It just a really interesting shape. It's not your standard Calatrava shape. Has the original crown. Everything's original about it. I've put it on this vintage stretch bracelet, the old stock vintage bracelet. It's got a screw-on case. It is a manual wind. God knows the last time it was serviced, I'm not sure. But it is a nice runner. Let's get this going. There we go. Radium loom. And it's got a little bit of water damage inside it. Apparently way back in the day, he lost it in a box of tomatoes that they were packing, and whoever the customer was found the watch in there, and back in those days they didn't keep that kind of stuff, they returned it. So yeah, unlike now, people getting their Bugattis smashed to try and steal their Daytonas. It's a bit different now, but anyway, so there's that piece. And this is my father's from the earlier 70s, the earlier part of the 70s. I believe he got this when he was engaged, yeah, during his engagement to my mother. And as you can see, there's a lot of wear on this thing. He wore it on the farm. I remember him wearing it on the farm. He wore this thing on the farm before he ever got a dive type watch. We've always sort of worn those kind of watches on the farm. Anything sort of diver is good for the farm. This stretchy bracelet has pretty much lost its elasticity now. It's really saggy. You can see it's really been beaten up. But I've had this watch serviced. Unfortunately, it was back when I wasn't, careful with telling them to keep the original parts, so they put this shitty crown on it. But I'm pretty sure I could find a crown for it. But dial and hands have survived beautifully. Original crystal. Yeah, the gold plating's shot. You can see the difference in the case gold plating to the bracelet, slightly different colors. Anyway, it's cool to have these. Both my father and grandfather obviously liked Amiga, so that's what they bought. We'll keep going on this one here, I guess. Now, these are nothing expensive or special or whatever, but there's something about Amiga I like. I like their logo. I'd like to have one of their Sherpas at some stage, whether it's a chronograph or a GMT, or I'd like to. Every time I found one for sale, they're usually condition-wise quite poor, just a bit too rough because they're well worn. So until I find a nice one that's not crazy priced, I'll just stick with more of these dress watch versions just to have some. But yeah, I think this brand Amiga, I'm pretty sure the guy's surname was Racing or something. It was the name. It was the word spelt the opposite way. So, but the problem is, I think Racing was already trademarked or something, if I remember the story correct. So he put his name back to front, and it's spelled Amiga, so that he could have his name on the watch. I believe that's true. If I've got it wrong, sorry guys, let me know. But just a nice piece. Only recently found this, and only recently found this one as well, which is kind of a jumbo. It's like a 38mm case, all dialed right to the edge, practically no bezel. I believe that's the bracelet it was probably bought on. It's an early bracelet. It's Swiss marked. It's got a really nice case back, this one actually. If I can get it to focus. Yeah. Anyway, so that's my two Amigas. I've had a Sea Pearl as well at one stage, and then I've sort of foolishly sold it. It was nothing special, but it was a Sea Pearl. I sold it for someone wanted it, and I just gave it to them for $30, I think it was, way back in the day. But what have we got next? Better move along. We're going to run out of time. So, Tudor, probably around 1980. So, what's that say there? It's a Prince Oyster Date. It's been fucking polished up. Probably should have brushing on the top of the lugs. It's been well and truly polished. Case back's been polished to the point of nearly losing the wording on the case back. It's only just there. Anyway, guys, I apologise for the motorbike outside. These boys are mucking around out there. My son and his mates. On a little kid's bike by the sounds of it. Anyway, this here is just my first Iris I ever bought. That's just there. It's not vintage, obviously. What have we got here? We've got Timor. So this is one of the Dirty Dozen. So it's military, with the broad arrow there. Obviously the case back's damped. Quickly. If I can get that bloody strap back. There, you can see the marking. There it is. Nice and original. Got the pencil hands, radium loom. Yeah, just manual wind. Runs really nice. I'll wear this sometimes. There it goes. There's your small seconds. So very nice. It's one of the Dirty Dozen you can get at the cheaper end. I think they're starting to ask a little bit more money for these now, but this was actually a gift to me. My brother bought me that watch. I think it was for my 40th birthday. Here we go. So look, this is a aluminium cased military watch as well. It's like a navigator's watch, an aviation watch. It's got the blued hands. Apparently they pick up the red light inside the cabin, inside the cockpit. It's got the fixed bars. Yeah, aluminium cased. This case back does not have the stamping though. The serial number dates it sort of, I can't remember, it was 44, 45, 1945 or something. Might have been at the end when they weren't stamping them any longer. So I don't know if it was issued or not. It's in very good condition, so possibly not. These were known to break lugs pretty easily because they're aluminium. So there's that. We've got an Orfina here. Move the hand so you can see the signature. An Orfina here, chronograph. Has a value 7733, I think it is. 2 register from the 60s. Dial is in outstanding condition. I have read that these particular type of dials, I can't remember who made them, but they, yeah, they just barely age. Anyway, it's got like a diver's bezel. This case was quite commonly used back then. Like Hoya used this case a lot. Kind of a generic shaped case that was used a lot in the 60s. Apparently it was 20 atmospheres waterproof back then. Not sure how, I'd never had a screw down crown or anything, but let's get it going. There we go. So this is tritium, a nice big tritium dot at the top here. So there's that. Bought this because it's got the TV shaped dial, TV shaped case. Just a cool watch, probably from around the 1980s, late 70s. Press case back. Again, guys, sorry about the motorbikes, but yeah. Yeah, just these, you gotta be careful when you buy them. Having the day and date. Sometimes if they're they don't align properly when you either quick set them or whatever, which can be an issue. And I don't know how much they cost to service, so be wary of them. Cool watch though. This is I think it's 1946, very early bumper auto. So it's Jaeger LeCoultre. Radium, I don't know if the hands have been redone or they're just that good. But as you can see, it's got the radium plots. Sort of an Explorer, sort of 3, 6, 9, 12. That kind of layout. I've had the case back off this and the movement is nothing short of beautiful. Yeah, but it does have a bumper auto. Snap case back, but it's not the kind of snap case back that you can push on with your fingers. You need a case back like a press. I've taken it off once and then had great difficulty getting it back on. It's that tight. Really well made. There's that piece there. The rest of those are not vintage. Where can we go? We'll go through these. All right. So this is reference 7928, Tudor Submariner from 1967. And this one's a real funny one because I bought this back when I started getting into vintage watches and sold it, and then only bought it back last year or this year, can't remember. So I've purchased this watch twice, the exact same watch. It was like an omen. The dealer I sold it to, whoever bought it, sold it back to him, and when I saw it pop up, I had to get it back. So that's back in my collection. Very nice thick case. I believe it to be unpolished. a lot of Tudor subs are, because guys that were buying them didn't want to spend the money that they spent on Rolex, and I believe that they didn't want to spend much on upkeep on them either. So it's my theory anyway. So I don't have the original bracelet for that one. My Rolex 1675 GMT Master, 1966. Also unpolished, definitely unpolished, this piece. There's no denying it. Gorgeous watch. I don't think I'm ever going to part with it. Bracelet needs one spring, which I haven't done yet. Apparently there is a little spring in lighters that you can modify to make this work. But anyway, not a big deal. Doesn't bother me. It's not like I wear it much anyway. So that's that. Alright, got a vintage Air King. I think it's from 1979 or 1980. So this is 34 millimeters. It's a logo dial, clearly a logo dial. That's Pool Interdrill. They were a petroleum company out of Libya. Getting hard to find logo dials now. I wish I bought some more of them earlier on. Bought this watch out of Chrono 24, so actually did well. I was a bit worried buying off there, but worked out good. I've got my favourite Air King here. It's 58 or 59. 36 mil case. It's a rare Air King. So I think the reference is 5504, I believe, something like that. Terrible with remembering the references. It's a later bracelet, clearly, because it's not a 50s bracelet. It's more from the 70s. It's the folded link, but looks nice on there. Watch is all original. It's got the blue second hand. It's automatic. Let's see if I can get it going with a bit of the applied coronet is pretty cool. Love the dolphin hands. Beautiful dial, super precision. It's a cool watch. I've actually enjoyed wearing this one a fair bit. So it's that. My one last 5513 that I've still got. I had 3 5513s, but now it's the only one I've got. So 1967, early matte dial. This come with papers, which is really awesome. Very thick case. I think refinished at some stage, but retains a nice thick case. It's got the original stretch bracelet, correct year. It's the US bracelet. It's got the narrow center links compared to the European bracelet, which has got the wide center links. So you can see the difference. But yeah, the riveted bracelet's cool. Beautiful piece. Cool that it's got the original papers. Then here's one of my vintage grails. When I couldn't believe I got this watch when I got it. It was just perfect timing, worked out great. So this is from 1977, which is extra cool because it's my birth year. So yeah, 6265, and this comes with a huge paper trail. Pretty much everything apart from the actual little swing tags and things like that, but it's amazing paper trail. And the last Rolex service I had was actually 2013, so it's got that card as well. It's just, yeah, it's beautiful watch, beautiful dial. The little tritium lume plots are all still perfect. Hands are perfect. It's the crown was replaced at service. Bezel is original, really nice, not over polished or anything. Original bracelet, just a cool watch, very cool. I got the original box for it as well. Then I'll show you a couple of my Amigas. This one's had a lot of airtime because I wear it a lot. So Speedmaster from 1967. That's the last of the 3-2-1 movements. Don't have a bracelet for this one. It's unpolished, but worn very hard. Bezel's been beaten up, but original, dot over 90. Tritium lume plots are perfect on this. The actual dial is spot on. Any marking you see is the actual crystal, because this is the original crystal, and all I did is clean it. I did not polish the crystal, I just cleaned it. You still see all the original marks in it. But all those marks are on the crystal, not the dial. Getting too much reflection here, but you can just see the case back there. Bought one of these straps from the boutique. Thought it looked pretty cool on there. So there's that. There's my 68 Speedy, which is the transitional version. It's the first of the 861 movement, but with the long index dial. So it's got the same dial as the previous one I just showed you. Main thing to pick up different is the fact that the second hand on this has the triangular end on it, whereas the other has like a teardrop. But this thing is flawless, very close to new old stock. Any marks on it are probably just from handling. It's actually like it's time warp piece. It's got the stretching links at the bottom, flat link bracelet. It's an amazing piece. If this was a vintage Daytona in this condition, God knows how much it'd be worth. Being an Amiga, it's hard to even price because you can't really find them in this condition from 1968. But at the same time, I don't know, the value is not that great, but it's valuable to me, so it stays in my collection. We've got a Nevada Aggression, an original from the 60s. Don't know the year. Got the big lollipop second hand, tritium dial, obviously tritium hands, and patinaed perfectly, beautiful color. No degradation in it, maybe a tad in the hands, but completely original, and very close to new old stock as well. Presents perfectly. I believe it's the original strap as well. And yeah, I've worn this a little bit. Runs beautifully. These have a Valjoux. I shouldn't say that because I'm not sure. I can't remember. But you gotta be careful with these, with the big lollipop hand, with the tritium lollipop hand. Running the chronograph, if you do want to use it, best to get the hand up close to 12 o'clock and then stop it and reset it, because a few that have done it, and it flies around from down low here somewhere and then stops quickly, you can crack the tritium in that hand and then it falls out, and then it doesn't look quite so pretty. So yeah, sorry these are fogging up. They've been in a cold place, and now touching with my hands there, getting that condensation. Anyway, then we go to another Tudor. So quite like this one. It's got that linen dial, that gold linen dial. Oyster Prince date day, so it's pronounced opposite the Rolex. Instead of a day, it's a date day. This was later 70s. Nothing spectacular. It has been polished, but it's still very nice. The machining on the case back looks original. Anyway, paired it up with this strap. I think it looks good on that strap. It's one of my first vintage pieces, actually. That there. And I remember overpaying for it. Anyway, here we are with another TV dialed, Amiga. Ooh, it's right in between dates. Let's fix that. There we go. So the cool thing about this is it's from Mexico. It's got the Spanish day wheel, a Mexican bracelet. So it's an Amiga bracelet, but made in Mexico. The stamping actually tells you that. Let's see where it is. Shit, it's on the inside, it's hard to read. You can just see it up the top, Mexico. Anyway, cool watch. Yeah, the fact that I had a Mexican bracelet, I had to have it. And yeah, it's a Speedmaster in this shape, which is cool. It's automatic, it's not a manual, but cool watch. It's got that Nautilus look to it. Quite thick, chunky, cool watch, but not large. It's probably not even 40 millimeters. So that's about it, guys. There is some other vintage pieces that I've got. Oh no, that's not it, because I've got this here. This one I bought for myself, and then my daughter took a shine into it, so it ended up hers. So reference number is 16. I think was it 16523, because it's two-tone. Zenith Daytona 1989. So very early. Inverted 6. Awesome dial. Very sharp bezel. Everything's really sharp about it. Sharp coronet. Yeah, she loves this watch. And then I've got the big daddy for that one. So that's the 16528 solid gold, early 90s, but same dial. It's pretty cool. So a nice matching pair, father and daughter. So guys, this video is probably one of my longest ones I've ever done. It's nearly 27 minutes. I hope you liked them, and yeah, just a little bit on my collecting. All right guys, thanks for watching, and until next time, take care.